to easily implement what you have learned today. The purpose of this slide is to show you my email address. So if you have any question after the seminar, you can send them either to compliance trainings or you can send them directly to me to this email address, and I can promise you, as long as I will answer everything which gets, let's say, in a time frame of 2 or 3 weeks. You have still time enough to get other questions to me before we disconnect. Okay, so this shows here an overview of today's seminar. And basically what I will do, I will start with FDA and some equivalent international requirements and also enforcement practices which are documented in warning letters and so on. I will then give an overview of the steps that are recommended for implementing computer validation before I go into details of planning, of risk assessment, and setting requirement specifications. Then I talk about the vendor assessment and also the installation, which is documented with the installation qualification. Of course, the important point will be on how much, what you test and how much to test before we use the instrument, when we use the instrument, during ongoing use. And I also will talk about the validation report and other documents which should be available as a result of your validation activities. And then at the end, I will talk a little bit about, okay, what is important about existing systems? Can we use them? What should we take care about? Is there any difference between validating existing systems and new systems? So that will be at the end. Most common pitfalls, I also will give a list of things which can go wrong, we should avoid them. And here, Ramesh mentioned it already, you can enter the questions in the chat box here, or the Q&A question box, and so I will answer them at the end of my presentation. So please think about if there is anything, any doubt, or any uncertainty about computer validation. Now is the time, within the next 75 minutes, to get rid of them. Think about and get rid of them. Okay, I also have a reference website here. The website is shown here. At the bottom of the slide, I think you just can double click on it and the website will open up. You have to enter a user ID, which is shown here, audio, and the password, which is AM4921. And you will find on this website a couple of SOPs. There is also a computer validation master plan. There is a SOP, for example, includes take you through the validation of commercial off-the-shelf system. And there is also a checklist on using computers in FDA-regulated environment. And I have a template, example, case studies, step-by-step procedures for including a validation project plan, including user requirement specifications, a vendor assessment table, examples, installation, qualification, IQ, PQ, also the test protocols, typical test protocols, and I have this available for complete computer system. One is the document management system that can be used by almost everybody, because I think anybody has some kind of a document management, computerized document management system in your organization. For those of you who are coming more from a laboratory, I also have an equivalent set of documents. I think these are about maybe 8 or 9 documents, but don't get afraid about the number. They are probably for the most complex system, but if you have a more simple system, you can combine them. For example, IQ, OQ, PQ, they can be combined and things like this, so this probably should be. But I thought it's a good idea that you have them as a starting point, so we can go from here with this reference material. Okay, with this we go to talk about the regulations. This slide shows an overview of the most important regulations. These are the so-called GXP regulations. They stand for good laboratory practices, good clinical practices, and good manufacturing practices. Then we have 21 CFR Part 11, which is FDA's regulation for electronic records and signatures. They have a specific requirement stating that computer systems used in FDA-regulated areas should be, or this means in FDA terms, must be validated. I think also Annex 11 is shown here. Annex 11, which is some people call it the European equivalent of Part 11. It's a little bit more. I mean, it's more like a management system for using computers in FDA or European regulated areas, including a little bit on electronic records and signatures, but the majority is talking about details about validation. So that's a good document to look at. Of course, FDA 21 CFR Part 11 is also something. The general regulations, the GXP regulations, they really don't say too much about validation. It's all phrased in a term which says automated equipment, which includes computer systems, should be suitable for its intended use, which means we must make sure that we can use them. They provide accurate results. I mean, they have the performance, the capabilities, the function we need them to do. And for some functions, if they are really critical, they also have to be checked that they work. This is the validation time. Another point is here, I mean, this tells you, the second one, the equipment should be routinely checked. This tells you that computer system validation is not a one-time event. I mean, it's an ongoing effort after initial testing. We also have to do something later on, depending on what it is, and with a specific frequency we should do it. Okay, this shows here a little bit more detail on 21 CFR Part 11 and the related guidance documents, scope and applications. Part 11 simply states that computer systems should be validated to ensure accuracy, reliability, and consistent intended performance. The guidance recommends to base the approach and extent of validation on a justified and documented risk assessment and on the impact the computer system has on product quality and also on safety. So that's basically what this one is here. Then, I mean, the regulations, I mentioned it already. I mean, they are really not very specific. I mean, they hardly say anything, and it's really not much you can learn about. On the other hand, I mean, the FDA go out and make inspection, and what's good about the FDA inspections, they document the inspections very well, very good, and in form of maybe 483 inspectional observations. Whenever there is something they are missing on a computer system validation, they write it down in this form, 483 form, that's the number what it has. Then they go back and write a very detailed establishment inspection report where they document everything they asked and the response they got and the comment if the response of the inspected company is sufficient. Okay, so I have a couple, and then the warning letters, they are definitively not really fun because they are sent really in severe deviations or violations of the regulations. They go right to the company management. So this is definitively not a nice thing. I have a couple here. I mean, for me, they are good because I know what the inspectors are looking at, and I would like to share this with you. By the way, also this is all documented on the internet. You can go to this website, which is shown here at the bottom of the slide here, fdawarningletter.com. Currently, we have about 300 GXP-related warning letters, and if you type in computer or validation, you will guide you to the ones which are related to today's topic, so this is quite convenient. So here, I mean, there was a protocol that was missing here. The second one, no IQ, OQ, PQ has been performed throughout the life of the system. That's interesting. For example, the regulations, they even will not mention the GMP 21 CFR Part 211, FDA's regulation for the good manufacturing practice regulations for finished drugs. They don't know the term installation qualification, but nevertheless, inspectors go out and ask for it, and if it's not available, they write it down as a deviation or observation or violation, whatever you call it, which can be a very bad thing, and you have to respond to it. Here, the second one is your firm failed to maintain computerized systems in a validated state. Okay, I have here revalidation as a remark. It's not the only thing. We also can use a periodic review approach, which in my opinion is better than revalidation. But nevertheless, I think this is all good about here. Okay, then we go to, there's another one here. The validation results do not meet predetermined acceptance criteria. I mean, this is very bad. I mean, we Because at the beginning, before we start testing, we have to identify what is it we want to get, what are the acceptance criteria, which answers the computer system should give if we ask somebody if we want them something to do. And this is well defined in acceptance criteria. And if the system is tested but does not meet acceptance criteria, needless to say that we should not use the system at all. Review and approved by third-party results here. I mean, the computer validation can be delegated to a third party, to the supplier of the system, can be delegated to an independent service provider, for example.